Hello everybody and welcome to our review of Seabourn Encore. In fact, we're actually filming this from Seabourn Encore, so we've only got one day left, so we pretty much formed our opinion on certain things. I don't think one extra day is going to make much difference to you.
No.
Let's just start with a little montage, shall we? Because that's always nice.
Okay. So we thought we'd start just telling you a little bit about our itinerary. So there is background to the information that we give you. So we're sailing on a week-long cruise on the Encore, starting in Istanbul and ending up in Athens. And we're visiting some Greek islands and a couple of other ports in Turkey. So we started in Istanbul. It was great. The ship was docked right near the old part of the town. From Istanbul, we sailed to Myrina, a small Greek island, and then we stopped in Sezme in Turkey, Bodrum in Turkey. Then we had a day in Rhodes, and today we're in Santorini, and then we finish up in Athens. So it's been a nice
It's a 7-night cruise.
3 tender ports. The rest were all docked alongside, so...
To us, Santorini is a highlight because it's something where you haven't been before, and you see all those pretty pictures on social media and you think, oh yeah, we'll have some of that. And we're lucky today because there's only a small Asmara shipping today, so we haven't got any like big mothers in, so it should be quite fun. So
we're here in Santorini tonight until 9 o'clock, so that if you wanted to stay ashore and see the sunset, you could, so that's really nice.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And if we've got a clip of it, we'll show it to you now.
Okay, so next we thought we'd just tell you a little bit about the ship and the accommodation. We really love the layout of the Seabourn ship. So all the accommodation is at the front half of the ship, and then all the sort of public areas and things are all at the aft, aren't they? So it's divided in the middle with this lovely circular atrium.
Beautiful staircase,
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful staircase. Seabourn love the circular staircase that goes all the way through, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a sort of a common feature, something in the DNA of their ships. Lots of outdoor areas to sit and eat, loads of alfresco spaces, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
For a ship this size. It's very, very good.
The only thing at the front is the observation bar, which is up on deck 11, which is great, and that's got a little outside area as well, so that's lovely for sailways and evening drinks and things. Otherwise, all the accommodations at the front, most of the accommodation is the same, isn't it? They're all standard, or not standard, they're not. They're all
suites.
balcony suites.
They're all balcony suites.
Yeah.
And basically they're virtually all the same.
Yeah.
It's just where on the ship you are. So if you're midships, you're going to be a high V number because it costs a little bit more to be midships, obviously.
And we've done a suite review, so we'll pop a link into that on here, so you can go and have a look at that if you want to know more about the suites. So there are some slightly larger suites, but most of them are this category and most of them are the same.
And actually watch the ship tour video as well, because that shows you all the public areas, but we're now going to talk a little bit about the public areas and which ones are our favourites and which ones we thought that perhaps probably improve a little bit. I'm going to start with a negative.
Okay.
I'm going to start with a negative, and it's quite a common negative actually, and it's not a negative from a guest point of view, it's a kind of almost a frustration from the guest point of view, and that is across the back of the ship there's lots of as we said, outdoor alfresco areas. So in the back of the colonnade, there's a lovely seating area outside. We're always out there, aren't we, eating? In the back of the Seabourn Square, there's an outdoor area, so that's a lovely place to chill. But in between, there's an equally large deck with tables and chairs that doesn't seem to get used.
No.
Hardly at all. And that's out the back of the Grill by Thomas Keller, which is it's in partnership with Thomas Keller, who's a famous multi-Michelin starred chef, which Seabourn have a tie-up with. But they don't use the outdoor space.
No.
So you walk between the decks, because you can at the back, and all you see is this empty, it's so underutilised. And that's a shame, because they're beautiful, aren't they, the back decks?
It's beautiful. And eating out on the colonnade deck in the evening is just lovely if you're in somewhere warm. And well, you don't even have to be in somewhere warm, because they have lovely patio heaters.
They have patio heaters, and it's all sheltered as well. There's no bright sunlight.
Sheltered.
It's fantastic. So, but that's the only negative, I would say. They've got 3 lovely decks there, but they don't really use one too much. Maybe they need to sort of repurpose it for something and get it up and running, because people love sitting outside, don't they?
Yeah. In fact, should we just take those areas deck by deck and go up them and explain what's out the back of the ship, and we can explain them. So starting on deck 5, that's where the club is, so that's the late night venue, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
lots of fun, the club.
Lots of fun there, and lots of people have been dancing.
Oh my goodness, the dancing is manic.
Every
honestly,
night we say we must go to bed early, and every night we don't.
I think it's because it's all inclusive. People tend to they go, this, like the old adage, dance like no one's watching. They certainly do.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about the entertainment and the teams that are entertaining us in there in the evening. But the club is there. Attached to the club is the casino, which is
quite small, but it's still a casino,
and it's been used a lot. There's been lots of people in there this cruise. So
casinos aren't our cup of tea. We don't ever go in them, do we?
No.
It's not something we particularly do, but we can understand
it's
other people
off to
do.
the side though, so you sort of walk past as you come into the club. It's there, you can sort of see it, but we don't really go in.
It's quite subtle, actually. It's not sort of in your face like some of the larger ships you go on, and the casino goes right across the deck of the ship. You have to go through it, and it's massive, because they know casinos are very popular with bigger ships. And
outside the club, so the back area, that, like you said, the external aft area, is one of the pool decks. So it's a very small pool with 2 hot tubs.
One either side.
And a few lounges and a few sofas. It's quite a nice little area. Yeah,
it is lovely, but it's not very sheltered. The hot tubs aren't. There's no cover on them. There's no cover. The pool is sort of half underneath the sort of tiered back of the ship. And the hot tubs are lovely though, because you've got that lovely aft view out the back. But it's a nice quiet. If you like a quieter area to come and sit, then there's a couple of little fridges there. You can just grab some soft drinks and of course, obviously, they come round and you can order what you like. But so that's deck 5, and then you move up onto deck 6, and deck 6 is where the theatre is. So there's no external area. Then up on deck 7 is Seabourn Square, which we were talking about, which is like the coffee venue. So that's where you can go and get your coffee in the morning, snacks. Drinks. Oh my goodness, the snacks there. I mean, we'll talk about food briefly because we've got a full dining guide, but the snacks there are just unreal, aren't they? Yeah. And there's some really comfy seating at the back of Seabourn Square. There's sort of lazy boy seats where you've got reclining leather, comfy. It's just lovely. There's about half a dozen lazy boy chairs, and everybody's always after the lazy boy chairs. Did you say lady boy? Lazy boy. No, lazy boy. Sorry. But I will say one thing, and it's a really silly thing, but the design of their coffee cups is really strange. For a start, I'm a left-hander, and you cannot use them. They're right-handed coffee cups. Well, as a right-hander, they're quite difficult to hold. So as a left-hander, I should imagine they're impossible. Well, you can't hold it because it's the wrong way round. You can't actually orientate your hand to actually hold it. So as a left-hander, I had to pick up my coffee with my right hand, which is fine for me because I'm quite ambidextrous. But for a pure lefty, it's going to be quite tricky. However, the takeaway cups are amazing. They're amazing. Yes, they've brought in sort of China takeaway cups. So they've done away with all the single-use plastics by the looks of it, and single-use cardboard even. And single-use cardboard. I mean, so it's the first line I think we've seen to do that. Yeah, the very first. Then moving up to deck 8 is where the Thomas Keller restaurant is. Again, we'll talk about more about that when we talk about the dining. Mm-hmm. Like Richard says, that does have a large outdoor terrace, but it doesn't get used, unfortunately. Mm-hmm.
And then
hideously underused.
Deck 9 is the colonnade, so that's where the buffet sort of area, which has a lovely terrace. And then deck 10 is the spa, isn't it?
Deck 10 is the spa. Yeah, there's a little outdoor area out in the back of the gym, and again, it's probably quite underused, to be honest. There's a small section out the back of the thermal suite, which is the spa area, with a couple of lounges on.
Nice sized gym for the size of ship, isn't it?
It is.
And it's been well used. So.
Really, really nice gym, actually. Yeah, actually much better sized gym than on the smaller Seabourn ships. The Three Sisters, they've got a sort of like a corridory type gym. I didn't like that at all, but this one's really good. It's across the back, plenty of things going on.
We have been to the spa for a massage. That was very nice.
Yeah.
Night Vision says there is a thermal sort of spa area. You can buy a pass for that. I think it's about $29 for a day if you wanted to do that.
I had access to the thermal spa when I went there really early and the door was open. I didn't stay in there, I just filmed it.
Yeah. And then coming back to deck 9 and deck 10, in the centre is obviously where the main pool area is. Reasonable sized pool with 2 hot tubs again.
Yeah.
Both of them under canapes, so
canapes? What, small,
no, I don't mean
bite-sized, delicious things that you have pre-dinner? 2 giant canapes, which are like a sausage roll there.
I haven't had enough.
Sausage roll there, and a blini with some giant caviar on, shaped like a hot tub. So yeah,
canapes. So it does create a little bit of shade. So that's quite nice. It's a nice pool. My big complaint is that the lounges around the pool, or the majority of the lounges around are not padded. You know, on a luxury ship, I would expect to see padded sun lounges, and they're not particularly comfortable. They're
very firm.
They're firm. Very firm. They're okay if you only want to be out there for half an hour or so, but if you want to spend a couple of hours laying out there and trying to get asleep, they're not very...
There are areas where they've got some beautiful cushioned sort of double day bed type things, but for the main, the ones around we found them on other ships, actually lesser luxury ships to be better overall, so it's a bit of a disappointment. But to be fair, that's just our opinion. I mean, a lot of people lay on them all day and probably don't make any fuss.
And in Seabourn's defence, they do so many like deck events that they're constantly moving the furniture.
They're very, very light. Have you ever picked one up? I mean, you can literally pick it up with a finger.
So they're constantly moving the furniture around because there are lots of deck parties and champagne sail-aways and all sorts of things. So.
Stay tuned because we'll go on to the entertainment.
Yeah. There's also 2 other little small sun decks. There's at the front of deck 7, there's a little sun deck which also has a whirlpool on it, which is lovely, again, for sail-aways if you want to be at the front of the ship. There's also a sun deck right at the top on deck 12, which is the top deck at the front, which has lots of lovely double daybeds, comfortable daybeds on it.
Extremely exposed.
But it's very exposed. That's where the
if you're a sun worshipper
Yeah.
And you want somewhere quiet, it's an amazing place to go because hardly anyone ever goes up there.
It. Yeah.
Because if you're in a med environment or Caribbean and that, it gets hot up there.
Yeah. The only other sun area is the retreat, which is also on deck 12, just behind the front sun deck, but that you have to pay for that.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the retreat actually, because it's something I put in relatively recently, I think, with the Encore class ships, the Encore and the Ovation. It is a beautiful area. I mean, we haven't been there, but I had a creep around one early morning when the sun was coming.
And we also were invited to a cocktail party up there, so we did get to go up there.
It's beautiful. It's got this massive hot tub in the middle, and the cabanas are just so luxurious. And
plenty of shade up there, which actually there isn't much shade around in a lot of the other areas, is there?
No, but it has its own bar up there. I notice it has its own toilets and things like that.
The lounges are ultra luxurious.
Our only criticism of the retreat is that it is a premium place, and obviously, again, I kind of wrestle with the fact that we're on a Seabourn ship. Even if like Thomas Keller, for example, that on any other luxury ship, that would probably be a premium dining experience, and they'd probably have a cover charge.
You'd have to pay for it.
But on here, they let you book one per voyage, and if there's any spare capacity, they'll squeeze you in at some point if you really enjoy it and want to go back. But I would have expected that of the retreat, that guests could have half a day complimentary, and they could book you in and you could enjoy it for half a day, just see what it was like.
Well, I mean, I think they could charge for it, but I think they could make it more accessible for guests. I mean, I think the charge is $250 a day, but you know,
it does seem expensive.
If they made it a little bit more affordable so that more people could use it. It's such a beautiful area, and it feels very underused. A bit more, doesn't it? Yeah,
it's a bit like the outside deck of Thomas Keller. It's a beautiful area, but it doesn't seem to be used as much as it should. I mean, Seabourn obviously spent a lot of money on it, and obviously they need to keep it premium, but it would be nice to even just have a couple of hours up there.
But this just feels a little bit too expensive for the extra that you get when you're already getting drinks brought to you all around around the pool, and the service is great around the pool anyway, isn't it? I mean, that is something that we have to praise them for. The service around the pool is exceptional.
Okay, now let's talk about entertainment, which will lead to bars, because that's normally where the entertainment is focused.
and Seabourn signature events.
On signature events. But we'll start with entertainment. Now, this is where I think Seabourn really do hit a high bar with. There seems to be an awful lot of musicians and entertainers on for a ship this size.
Yeah.
There's two full bands, so it's like a quartet that does like deck parties, and then there's a larger band that plays in the club.
With the saxophonist.
Yeah, but then the quartet also plays in the club, so they kind of mix and match.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on all the time, and it's all live music, and I absolutely adore that. I think they do such a good job.
Yeah.
The sail away parties are always live music. You know, you've got to understand this is a small ship, so you might think to yourself, well, actually, you know, P&O do that, or, you know, Celebrity do that. Yeah, but they are like 5 times the size of the ship. So to have a similar thing on such a small ship, they don't scrimp on it, do they?
No. It's the two bands that sort of play mainly in the club. You know, they start at 6 and they go on until till everybody's gone.
And the thing is, they don't even have a break. They kind of like, it's almost like a relay. They kind of like mesh into each other so the music continues, and before you know it, you look up and there's a different band and you hadn't noticed.
Alongside those two bands, there's also the singers that sing in the theatre productions, and there's 4 of them, isn't there? Singers.
Well, let's talk about the theatre, because Seabourn obviously have their Tim Rice production show, and it's really good.
Yes.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Definitely worth going to. Also, they bring in guest performers. So last night, for example, we had a guitar duo, a classical guitar duo, and they were absolutely fabulous. Brilliant. They're playing on the deck later on today. So they're actually going to be playing live outside, and like I say, we'll get some clips of that. But the show they had last night was fabulous. Actually, we're going to give you 30 seconds of it now. So the theatre's not the only place though, because you've obviously got the club. We've just talked about the club where you've got the band and the 2 bands, and I haven't seen a DJ, have you? No. Then of course, if you want something a little bit more laid back, you've got the observation bar, which is at the top of the front, so it's a completely separate.
We love the observation bar for a
it's a huge 360 degree, it's not 360, it's not really, it's 180 degree glass frontiers, sailaways. It's got a lovely circular bar there. You can sit along. We love sitting up the bar there.
We love sitting up the bar,
watching the mixologists do their thing.
It's very busy up there in the evening, isn't it? So there's always a buzz, and the bartenders there are always working hard. But
amazing. I mean, it is a lovely place to go for pre-dinner. But there's also a bar in the Thomas Keller, the Grill. And that's a lovely little bar as well. It's different to the other ones because they do more specialty cocktails there.
Yes.
And so the mixologist there is sort of
he's
specialist, and you know he made us a couple of drinks last night that we've never had before.
And they looked beautiful, didn't they? Mine looked lovely.
So it's a different, slightly more specialised thing, but they have a pianist in there.
Yes.
And again,
so that's John the pianist playing in there, and again he's there from 6 o'clock in the evening
and
until midnight.
Yeah, and it's very popular.
You forgot to say that up in the Obs bar, there's also entertainment.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, they have pianists and guitarists and singers.
So there's a duo up there called Will and Chris at the moment, and he plays the piano and she sings. So there's and they're up there from 6 o'clock in the evening until midnight. So you can go up there and listen to live music. Again, so every bar has got live music in it.
And again, as we said, that's where, with Seabourn are an absolute delight. If you've got a different cruise director, you'll have slightly different things going on, and that's lovely, because you know what you're going to get, but there's always little things around the edges that you don't know you're going to get, and that's nice.
But we had last night a champagne and caviar sail away with the band playing as we left Rhodes, and we were treated to a beautiful sunset.
Live music, lots of caviar, lots of champagne. Everyone was enjoying themselves, and so from a signature event point of view, it's great when the conditions can't give you a caviar in the surf, they give you a caviar sail away. So what more could you want, really?
And then Seabourn will also do their deck party one night, which is always wildly popular.
Deck party's great on there.
Yeah,
I mean, we had one the other night. It was an absolute scream, wasn't it?
Yeah, and all of the singers will come out. So you'll have both the singers from the two bands and the singers from the theatre.
It's a big festival of music, isn't it?
We've also got an amazing assistant cruise director on this voyage, who is also a brilliant musician and singer. So he came up and did some singing as well. So there's a cruise director and an assistant cruise director, which are different to all the other people we've talked about. So there's trivia every day in the club, isn't there? And he's brilliant. So, and the deck party was it was so much fun. Nobody wanted to go in, did they?
So I think we've established the entertainment is actually quite good, considering the size of the ship. It's top marks from us.
Yeah, we've struggled to go to bed before midnight because there's so much going on every night.
Despite how tired you are, you're kind of like, I must cling on because there's something going on in an hour that I mustn't miss.
Yeah, every night we've wanted to go to bed earlier, but the fellow passengers on here are so friendly that you'll meet someone and they say, just come to the club for a little while, and then you get dancing in the club, and
it's all good.
So it's fun.
While we're talking about signature events, like the Caviar Sail Away, there are other signature events that Seabourn do, obviously depending on conditions and where you are in the world. One of the ones I like is the Marina Day. So if you've got a calm seas and you're sort of in a sheltered area, they will open the back of the ship out and get all the toys out. And we had a good chance to have a look at that the other day. They have to get permission from the port, so I hear. So they only had like a couple of hours to do that, and so I went down and
we didn't go out on them this time because it was actually it looked a little bit choppy out there for me, but
that's a really good fun thing, and you get a lot of people doing it, and it's brilliant. So yesterday, shopping with the chef, that is such a good experience. We went out yesterday with the executive chef, the top chef. What was his name? Ross, the Scottish chef from Edinburgh. Beautiful Scottish accent, didn't he? And when they put these montages together, the PR puts these montages together, we can go shopping with the chef, and he's there, sniffing melons, and it doesn't sound rude, doesn't it, sniffing melons, picking up herbs and sort of doing herbs, doing all this, and sort of like, and you think, it's not like that in real life. Actually, it is. It really is. You can actually go around with the chef as he sniffs things and actually buys actual local produce for the ship.
We filled our minibus with produce.
We did. It was amazing. And one thing I love about that, and I said this to him yesterday, was that, he goes there with a fistful of, a wedge full of money. And it's like proper trickle down. So he'll go to these little local producers that do like olives. So let's say the olive store, for example, he was testing trying all these olives.
We were all trying the olives.
All trying the olives out. And he's like, I'll have a kilo of them, I'll have 2 kilos of them, I'll have a kilo of them. And this little small producer, almost like a subsistence farmer, if you like, sells half his stock. And it's all cash, and it's fabulous, absolutely fabulous like that. And it's just lovely to see that it's not all bulk bought. They can go into a little local supermarket and buy cheese, or you can go into the fish market and say, I'll have 6 of those sea bass, and you just sort of buy these huge absolutely
whole wheels of cheese.
It's a really good experience, and actually it is like the brochure says. So that was fabulous. And we get to eat it as well, so
And then at the end of the cruise, we haven't had this yet, but at the end of the cruise they'll also do another sort of Epicurean type event,
sort of officers' deck party type
like
thing.
where we get to say thank you to all the crew and everything, and that's usually out on the deck as well, but we haven't done that yet, but we'll hopefully we will, and we'll get some video of that. So that's a really nice event as well, isn't it?
And I think Seabourn do other signature events as well, but obviously again it's only a 7-night cruise. If you know, a 14-night cruise, there'll be other signature events that we can't go into detail now because we haven't experienced them, but I mean it's all about experiences, and onboard experiences are really good, aren't they? We haven't had one where we've thought, well, I don't know why they did that. They've all been really good.
One of the other things that we love to do is when we're getting ready for dinner in the evening, we will order caviar to our room, which is...
Yeah, now caviar is another one of those sort of things that only certain sort of top cruise lines do, and so you just any time of the day you can order caviar, and they bring it in this beautiful sort of presented sort of tray with all the sort of bits. Okay, now with regard to dining, we're not going to go into too much detail because we have a full dining guide, and we'll leave a link at the end, and hopefully we've done the dining guide before we've done this. But yeah, that will go into detail about what's on offer and what we can eat. But just quickly, there are certain elements that we absolutely adore, there are certain elements that we love, and there are certain elements where we think, well, we'll give that a miss next time. And I think one of our favourites is sushi.
Sushi, yeah.
Which is the complimentary sushi and Asian restaurant, and it's brilliant. It serves lunch and dinner. Again, we're not going to go into too much detail because you can see it in a little bit more detail, but we absolutely love that.
And it's been really popular on this voyage.
Yeah, it has been really popular.
Busy.
Queuing out the door.
Yeah.
Because you don't book, you just show up and queue out the door. There's a place called Patio Grill, which is lovely for a burger or a hot dog at lunchtime, and you can just sit, so you don't have to get changed or you don't have to do anything like that. You just sort of go down in your swimming trunks and your t-shirt, and there you go. And we've got obviously the main dining room, which is always superb. There's a chef's dinner evening, which I think is tonight, isn't it? So that'll be interesting, really nice. That's almost like the gala dinner evening, isn't it? Almost, although you don't have to dress formally for that. There is a formal night here, so if you like dressing up, it's great. If you don't like dressing up, you don't have to. So that's really nice.
This is our 5th cruise on Seabourn, and we've never got round to doing afternoon tea. And why not? It was beautiful.
That was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. It was one of the nicest afternoon teas we've had on a ship. It comes on a little cake plate. The everything is literally bite-sized, so it's just perfect. And it's just a really nice way to spend half an hour or an hour up in the observation bar.
Very delicate.
Someone playing. Well, we had guitar melodies up there, didn't we?
Yeah. And it changes daily, I think they said.
Yes.
So the afternoon tea is not the same, and it's great because you go there and you get this little menu, and you think, sure, do I have to choose from this menu? What's going on? But you get it all. But it's all like perfect bite-sized pieces, so you just like whack it in your gob, savour the flavour, and then go on to the next thing. So it's a massive thumbs up for afternoon tea.
Yeah.
And the cups they use are good for left-handers as well. So there's a bonus. They don't use the coffee cups from Seabourn Square. So that's a good thing. The buffet in the colonnade is nice and always really well presented. And they have theme days, don't they?
Yeah.
So they might have a med day if you're in Greece. They might have a Greek
lunch
day.
and dinner are both themed, and they'll both have different themes.
Also, they have the themed times in the colonnade, but also once they have the Thomas Keller evening in the colonnade, which is a kind of family sharing kind of set up, isn't it? It's all sort of Thomas Keller family style dining. Now, some people may like that, some people may not. It's very simple food, but delicious. Thomas Keller menu, it's Thomas Keller chefs, Thomas Keller ingredients, everything Thomas Keller. But you sit outside and you put everything in the middle. It's lovely. So if you're dining with people, it's lovely. We had a lovely evening with some friends, didn't we, last night, and everything in the middle. So that's good. But that leads us then into the specialty restaurant, The Grill by Thomas Keller, and this is where we take a little bit of a left turn, I think, in terms of our preferences, because there is some fabulous food on board, and let's not make a mistruth here. It is fabulous food.
Yes,
it's fabulous food. But we used to like Restaurant 2, which is the old style one, and they took Restaurant 2, which is a French fine dining sort of cuisine restaurant, and they put Thomas Keller in, and it is beautiful. The food is beautifully cooked. I mean, the ribs we had in the colonnade last night.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly,
delicious.
It was utterly delicious. But Thomas Keller tends to divide a little bit of opinion, doesn't it?
Well, the menu hasn't changed at all since
5 or
it
6 years.
started, which was 5 or 6 years ago. So, you know, this is obviously I think it's probably about our third one where Thomas Keller has been on. So you get to eat there once each voyage, but nothing changes. I mean, I suppose if you're only coming on once a year, so
doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And you get to know what you like. Well, we've been trying different things off the menu, haven't we? So
it is delicious, but we have a little. We shed a little tear for restaurant too. That's what I would say, because it was lovely. I just wish they had both. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But you
and Thomas Keller is, you really struggle to get more than one booking in there. So it's obviously very popular. Most people like to do it at least once when they're on. So it's obviously popular, and it does feel a little bit more special. I mean, all the dining feels special, but it feels a little bit more special. So.
But I would probably say it's not our most favourite venue.
No.
I've got to give a balanced review here, and I think, it's not our favourite.
No. I love going out to the colonnade in the evening, especially if it's warm outside, and the service out there is always lovely. And
they don't do outside dining in the grill by Thomas Keller.
No.
It's something Thomas Keller specified. No alfresco dining, which is like, it's a bizarre thing, but that's what they wanted. So that leads us full circle back into that nice little area we said was underused.
But obviously, watch the full dining guide, and there'll be more about the dining on there.
Just as far as the summary goes, we've absolutely loved it, haven't we? This is our fifth Seabourn cruise. And Seabourn really don't fail to, provide the little touches, like leaving stuff, on your bed in the evening, and, when it's your birthday, they bring you a cake, and you have got, they'll leave you little bits and pieces in your room. It's really, really nice. And, they're the little touches that, make you think, the little surprises that make you kind of smile and...
And the crew have just been amazing. They really are. I would say there's been a few times and a few places where it still feels a little bit understaffed, maybe following the pandemic. Once things start getting back to normal, which hopefully they are now, that will rectify itself, won't it?
Yeah. So we hope you've enjoyed our little review of Seabourn Encore in the Mediterranean. And please watch these other ones as well, because we think that it might further your understanding of the Seabourn experience.
Let's go explore Santorini.
Let's go, shall we? Bye for now.